Hello everyone, the name of the story is A King's Painting. There was a kingdom once upon a time. There was only one leg and one eye on the king, but he was a wise and gentleman. Because of their ruler, everyone in his realm was content and healthy. The king was going down the palace corridor one day when he came across his forefathers' portraits. He imagined that one day, his children will go down the same corridor and see these portraits and remember all of their relatives. But, the king did not have his portrait painted. Due to his physical disabilities, he wasn't sure how his painting would turn out. So he invited many famous painters from his and other kingdoms to the court. The king then announced that he wants a beautiful portrait made of himself to be placed in the palace. Any painter who can carry out this should come forward. He will be rewarded based on how the painting turns out. The painters all began to believe that the king had only one leg and one eye. How may his photograph be made to be particularly lovely? It is impossible, and if the painting does not turn out to be lovely, the monarch will become enraged and punish them. As a result, one by one, everyone began to make excuses and respectfully reject to paint the king. But then one of the painters raised his hand and said, "I'm going to paint you a very lovely portrait that you'll love." Hearing this, the monarch was overjoyed, and the other painters were intrigued. After the king granted him permission, the painter began work on the portrait. He then proceeded to paint over the drawing. After what seemed like an eternity, he finally announced that the portrait was complete. All of the courtiers, as well as other painters, were intrigued and nervous, wondering how the painter could make the king's portrait lovely given the king's physical limitations. What if the monarch disapproves of the picture and becomes enraged? Everyone in the court, including the king, was startled when the painter unveiled the portrait. The painter created a painting of the monarch sitting on the one-legged side of the horse, clutching his bow and pointing the arrow with his closed eye. The king was overjoyed to find that the painter had created a lovely portrait by carefully concealing the king's handicaps. He was rewarded handsomely by the king. Moral of the story: we should always be optimistic about others and overlook their flaws. Instead of trying to hide our flaws, we should learn to focus on the positive. We will be able to address our difficulties more efficiently if we consider and approach them optimistically, even in a negative environment. To stay up to date on the latest videos, make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell.